sailor? What will we do with a drunken sailor? What will we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she rises early in the morning. Shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly with a rusty razor early in the morning. When you marooned me on that forsaken spit of land, you forgot one very important thing, mate. I'm Captain Jack Sparrow. Have you now? Very kind. But it would seem that as I possess a ship and you don't, you're the ones in need of rescuing. I'm not sure as I'm in the mood. I see my ship right there.
You are without doubt worth
But you have heard of it. I'm Captain Jack Sparrow. Have you now? Very kind of you. But it would seem that as I possess a ship and you don't, you're the ones in need of rescuing. I'm not sure as I'm in the mood. I see my ship right there. Why should I stand with any of you? 4 of you have tried to kill me in the past. 1 of you succeeded.
You are without doubt worth
Hey! I'm Captain Jack Sparrow.
What's going on, fellow captains? It's Muse here. So, I've been grinding out the new IJN cruiser line, and I finally got my Shimanto, and so I'm sharing my first games in the Shimanto. Now, a lot of people said the new IJN cruiser line was pretty mid. A lot of people weren't big fans of it. I've really enjoyed this line, the entire line. A lot of these ships have a lot of utility to them, and I have not had a bad experience in any of them, but Shimanto did not disappoint. So what makes these different than the original IJN cruiser line? So this is a Mogami hull, so it's the same thing as Mogami, same thing as Suzuya on paper, same hull. There are some major differences between this and Suzuya and Mogami, though. So for starters, AA, it gets AA that is almost as good as the American AA. That is huge given the new carrier meta to have that level of AA. 2, it gets long range, hard hitting torps. Now, I run a gun build. If you know me, you know I love gunboats. I run a gun build on mine. If you do put a torp build on this thing, it's a monster with torps. The reload is really quick with a torp build. You can add to the range, you can add to the damage, you can add to the speed of the torps, you can add to anything with the torps. So this boat can be built in so many different ways. You can build it strictly AA, you can build it as a torp boat, you can build it as a gunboat. You can build it for stealth. You can build it for kiting with rudder builds. Like, this ship lends itself to so many different things. It's absolutely incredible. And the entire line is kind of like that, to where they're just really good at a bunch of different things. And you can build the ship kind of the way you want. So yeah, I build mine as a gunboat. And when we get into the stats, you're going to see that my HE hits for maybe 100 or 200 damage less than my AP. And while the AP is still good, the HE is just absolutely phenomenal. We'll talk about that when we get there. So what we're going to do right now is move into the game's overview, or what they have to say about this ship. So let's take a look. We got big yield, above average torpedo damage, full circle, main battery turrets can rotate full 360 degrees. That is another difference between the Mogami and the Suzuya. And nimble aim, above average main battery traverse speed. That is another difference. A lot of the original IJN cruisers have very slow traverse. These guns traverse very quickly, and with that 360 degrees, your guns are almost always on target, and it does make for a lot of fun. So as you can see, it says it's Mogami class, so yeah. Alright, into modules. For the ones you have to purchase with XP, I tend to just grind them out. So we got main battery mod 2, slot 1. And then slot 2, we're going to have the propulsion mod. I'll explain why when we get to the battles. And moving on to the slot 3, we have rudder over concealment. We're going to go with rudder. And then for the 4th slot, we are going to do main battery reload. And again, I don't use GXP on these, I just grind them out. So these first 2 battles, I don't even have the upgrades. This is the raw ship with just without the upgrades. Moving on. Alright, then we're going to take a look at our consumables. So we have damage control party. Nothing special there. Sonar, you're going to get 4.3 kilometers of detection on that for 60 seconds. You get 3 of those without commanders adding more. Then we're going to slide over. You get the choice of DFAA or catapult fighters. I just run the catapult fighter. DFAA is not a bad option. And then lastly, we are going to get repair party. The new commander for the line actually can boost this repair party. I don't bother with it, and I run a pure gun build, and we'll talk about that. Alright, into my commander that I'm running. So I run Hagiro. And let's take a look here. We got main cruiser battery range with beyond range. We've got igniter for a little more fire chance there. Hellfire is going to give me more penetration on my AE and HE and more damage. And then lastly, we have steer clear. That's going to give us better rudder, repair the rudder, and then refill station. Again, helping out that reload. IJN cruisers tend to have a longer reload. Then for my inspirations, I have added HE damage and main battery reload time. So we focused reload and HE with this build. That's what we... Alright, if you're looking for a torque commander, VII IJN is your guy. And base trait's going to give you some torque perks. Then the first slot we have Contact is Imminent, Torp Speed. We got Home Run for the Torpedo range. Got Look at Me Now for some lowered concealment. Back in Stock is going to give you faster reload time on the Torps. And then the Legendary is Killing Distance, which basically the longer your Torps travel, the more damage they do. For inspirations, we have Makawa for lower detectability and Swirsky. And that's going to be your torp build right there. You could go a lot of different ways, range, reload, all that good stuff. Alright, so we're going to head over into the stats now. This is my gun build. So hit points, we have 40,000. Torpedo damage reduction, 13%. Then we're going to slide over and take a look at these guns. So we have 5x3 150 millimeter guns, firing range 15.7. Again, I don't have the upgrades. Reload time 12 seconds, 180 degree turn time 5.9. That is fast. That is very fast. Look at my maximum HE damage, 2942. Maximum AP is 3100 and 14% fire chance on the HE. So you're almost better off just staying with HE unless somebody just gives you that broadside. Torps, we have 4x3 610 millimeters, 120-second reload time base, 7.2 turn time, and 20,000 damage with a 13.5 range. So those are pretty deadly for zone torping. If you put a torp build on there, zone torping is the way to go. Moving over into the AA, 89 natural rating on an IJN cruiser. So yeah, it's right on par with the Americans. You can actually add to that and buff that up quite a bit. And yeah, have some pretty nasty AA for an IJN cruiser. Maneuverability with our build is 35.5 knots, 830 turning circle. The turning circle's kind of rough. And the rudder is 6.2. Then slide over to concealment, 11.7. We are not buffing our concealment in any way, so just natural base concealment. Detectability by air, 7.3, guaranteed 2, and we are going to be moving on. Alright, for the armor, you are a cruiser. Don't expect anything special here. Don't expect to be super tanky. Do have a little bit of a belt there. As you can see, most of it is green, which means not good. You're not going to be a happy camper with things. Not getting hit is your best defense. Stripping it all down, let's take a look at the Citadel. So you can see we've got that high part of the Citadel in the middle of the ship. It does have some turtleback. That turtleback is not going to save you, so just don't get hit. That's the game plan. Don't get hit. Like that turtleback might help maybe if you have like a DD shooting you, but anything, cruiser, anything like that is... Turtleback's not going to save you. It's not. So yeah, just don't get hit. That's the game plan. Moving on. Alright, so for our Maiden Voyage in Shimanto, we're going to be on Sea of Fortune. This ends up being a 3k XP game. #1 on the team, immediately followed by another #1 on the team finish in the next game we feature. And sometimes it just goes like that. You know, I have my ships that when I first get them, and when I get new ships, kind of those first couple battles tell me like what I'm in for with that ship. Some ships tend to be very niche, and you really have to find what they're good at in order to be good at playing them. And other ships are very kind of general purpose, or if you're already very familiar with the style of the ship, you can kind of jump right in and know exactly what you need to be doing with it. So I've played a lot of IJN cruisers. I've played a lot of this line. I've played a lot of Zhao. And this thing reminds me of Zhao quite a bit. I'm kind of looking forward to getting the tier 8. It reminds me a lot of Zhao. And I adore Zhao. Zhao has probably become one of my favorite cruisers at Legendary tier. Thing is just a monster. And this thing feels like a tier 7 Zhao to me. So getting in it, it just came very natural what I need to be doing in this ship. And it results in 2 back-to-back top of the team finishes. This one, again, going for 3k XP. And I die in this battle, but I did enough to help put our team in a position where we get the win. There's going to be a 1 Atlantico left at the end of the fight, and he ends up getting a solo warrior. And part of that is just what we were doing. We'll get into all that. So as you can see, I start off zone torping. Just sending torps through the cap. And while I prefer to play gunboats, I have these torps. Why not make use of them? Shimanto is not something you want to get caught flat in. It can get dev struck very easily. So it does have, I said we were going to address the turning circle. It does have a pretty poor turning circle. The reason for that, and I've discussed this before on this channel, when you get ships that have like knife blade like hulls, they're built for speed and not turning. When you get ships with the more rounded hulls like the American battleships, they're built for turning and not speed. And so the knife blade like hull on this ship is built for speed. And it's not built for turning. So while it may have a quick rudder, it takes forever to turn 180 degrees around. But because you have that faster rudder, you can still duck, dive, dodge. You just can't flip yourself around as fast as you could in something with a smaller turning circle. So I also said we were going to discuss why I went with propulsion mod. There's a tactic I use for kiting that involves the propulsion mod. It's more a little bit more of an advanced tactic. So whenever you turn, you scrub speed, and especially on ships like this, where they have these knife blade hulls, because there's so much resistance when you turn, it tends to scrub a lot of speed, where like something with a rounder, flatter bottom tends to maintain more speed through a turn because there's not as much resistance on the side of the ship. And so a ship like this tends to scrub a lot of speed, especially like on a hard turn. You're going to lose a lot of speed. So when you have that propulsion mod, what you can do is use your turning to throttle jockey without ever coming off the gas pedal. I don't know if that makes sense. So by turning, you're going to scrub your speed. By letting off of the turn and just going back to your rudder being straight, the propulsion mod's going to punch you back out. And so in essence, just by turning, you're throttle jockeying. And it works very well on these knife-bladed kind of hulls because you scrub so much speed. So you're basically able to change your speed at will, and when you're playing at range, that's a big deal. That can really throw off people's aiming. Just as much as having a fast rudder and just getting out of the way. So it's a form of throttle jockeying without jockeying the throttle. It's a way, it's basically speed management, energy management. And yes, it can be super, super effective. So here we're just kind of pushing this cap. I don't really like to play this thing close quarters, but because it's got those fast turrets, it's not that horrible at it. It's got great torp angles because of the torps turn. And those torps hit hard, and you're about to see this constellation here in a second is going to find out about the torps. But yeah, it's not bad in a brawling situation because of the fast turrets and the torp angles. It can actually be really effective in close. The AP is pretty decent on it. The HE definitely does work. That's the way we have this built, is just we have that HE hitting hard, and then you're getting the fires on top of it, and that kind of is the emphasis of my build. So you saw coming in here, we got that Charles Martel, and absolutely spanked him with the AP. Most of the times I'm just going to stay with the HE, though. If the HE does, 200 less damage, why not just stay with the HE most of the time, unless somebody just gives you that AP shot. So we got the cap. That's going to make a big difference in this game. This game is going to come down to points and time. And while we have no DDs, this constellation is a problem. I enjoy my constellation. It can hurt things. It's going to hurt me. But it's going to pay a price for hurting me. So we kind of pre-torp there, knowing where he was. And then we're going to bait him. Take some shots at him. Try to get him to slow up before that corner to try and keep his guns on me. I even give him a little broadside here, a little flashy. Like, hey, look at me. Look at me. And he does slow down, tries not to go around that corner. And that's going to be his demise. Greed was his downfall. So nice step strike there with the torps. We're going to go ahead, bail out of this cap, and start heading over to that alpha side. Now, I had to make a choice here. I could either help the guys at Charlie, or I could help the guys at Alpha. We've already got Alpha captured. I'd like to try and help them get that cleared out over there. And so that's why I'm going to head that way. That Charlie cap, it doesn't look like they're that eager to get into it. You can see the one battleship is pointed away from it. The cruiser's all the way back there by the carrier. So they don't seem very eager to go into that Charlie cap. So we're just going to leave the Charlie cap alone. And it looks like the real fighting's happening over here at Alpha. And that's kind of where we want to head to. Now, I'm already low health. That Iowa's pretty dangerous to me. So we're just going to cook him as best we can from range. Just try to help our guys out here. We have that one cruiser that's up in their jeep against 3 ships. That's a rough position to be in. I'm not sure how he got up there. I mean, I've been there, done it. I get it. It happens sometimes. But yeah, that's a rough position to be in. Iowa's getting touched up. We're just going to keep pressure on him. Rochester's firing at me. And you can see when I turn how dramatically my speed drops. Like, it's still just plummeting. So we go from almost 36, 37 knots all the way down to 28. So that's almost a 10 knot difference. And then the minute we let off the throttle, you can see it just starts climbing right back up. And basically, same thing as lowering the throttle and then raising the throttle back to whatever speed you had it to. That is one of the advantages with propulsion mods, with anything that scrubs speed hard during a turn. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the Iowa here. Then onto this rock tester. Now, I make a big mistake here. I'm still going to end up finishing top of the team in this game. But my mistake here was assuming this Iowa would come with me against two cruisers. And instead of coming into that alpha cap, he goes into Bravo. And so the two cruisers are able to gang up on me in a crossfire, and then they're able to knock him out. And had he just gone through this gap, that little gap over there on my right side, after he goes past this island, had he just turned up in there, we very well could have knocked these two cruisers out. Like, I'm trying to push up in there to get spots, thinking he's going to come with me, and I'm just... Once he goes off my screen, I'm not paying attention to him anymore, and I should have been. Like, I should have realized he wasn't with me. Like, I thought he was going to turn and come back to Alpha, and instead he went into Bravo. Is what it is. And that's going to leave me in a pretty bad way with these guys. Being a crossfire between the Rochester and the Helena. Two American cruisers with pretty nasty AP. Not something you want to be in a crossfire from. As you can see, it's tied 4-4 on ships. We're up a lot on score, but we're going to lose 3 of our ships here very quickly. The carrier, myself, and one of the battleships. And it's going to leave that Atlantico. And basically all he's going to have to do is survive. We're down to 2:35 left in the game. Sent Torps where that Helena, I believed he was going to head to. We are going to end up catching him with one of those. It's not going to make a difference because I'll be dead and he has a DC ready, so he's able to just stop the flooding. It does leave this Rochester and that Helena both very low health though, and they're not willing to risk that. And as you can see, Rochester just gets it right up in my face. I go down, and right about now, that Helena is catching a torp back there. I don't know if he caught it yet or if he's about to. There it is. There it is. Immediately pops his DC. So we don't get nothing else off that. Our Iowa is sitting there in Bravo, very low health. And he is not long for this world. And once he goes down, it's just going to be that Atlantico left. And it is going to be a 1v4, so as long as he can survive, he's going to get the solo warrior. And it comes down... This game was very well played by both the blue team and the red team. This was a really close fight. Hard fought by both teams. Here we go at Atlantico. We've got 50 seconds left. He just needs to survive. Carrier's all up on him. And you're going to see how close this game is. Iowa is about to go down here. There he goes. Now look at the points. There's about 10-point difference. Atlantico's barely got health left. 30 seconds to survive. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. They can't turn caps. They can't do nothing. All you got to do is survive, Atlantico. Hang in there. Yeah, really good game to both teams in this one. This was a good fight. A really good fight. Came down to the last. Look at that. Look at that. He's clinging. He's clinging to it. There we go. Solo warrior for the Atlantico. Let's go. So yeah, as I said, scorecard 3k XP. Not a bad first battle. Some ships are just like that. And this happens to be one of them. Other ships are not. Like one I struggled with was Edinburgh. I know Edinburgh is an incredibly good ship. I heard people talk about it so much before I got it. And then when I got it, I just struggled in it. Like absolute struggle bus. And eventually I got it together and kind of figured it out and started having a lot better games in it. But my first probably 10, 20 games in Edinburgh were just atrocious. Atrocious. Like just terrible, horrible games. But like I said, I've played a lot of the IJN cruisers. Played a lot of Zhao, and this thing definitely reminds me of Zhao. The way that HE hits the torps, like it just feels like Zhao to me. It feels like a tier 7 Zhao. Like I don't care what anybody says. I don't think this ship is mid. I think it's very capable and has a ton of utility. Alright, so we're gonna move on along here. Head to our next battle. I shall see you over there. Next battle's gonna go a lot faster. Again, this was very well fought by both teams. Really good job by red and blue team. The next battle is gonna be a bit more of a blowout. Alright, our next battle is going to be on Trap for our second voyage. So I had so much fun taking it out the first time. I was like, hell yeah, let's go again. So I took it out again. And immediately got another game where I finished top of the team. Again, it doesn't go that way with every ship. And this is a ship that just fits my style very well. The way I like to play. I enjoy ships that, don't get me wrong, I enjoy my stuff like my French cruisers, but they're very, they have certain roles they fill, and they're not versatile, and they're not able to do other things when they need to, and this is just one of those ships that, it has a lot of versatility. It has speed, it has the torps, it has nasty guns, it has AA, it has, you know, just so many things going for it, and you can use it in so many different situations. And those tend to be my favorite kind of ships. Just ships that no matter what situation I'm handed, I have a tool for it. Even if it's not the best tool, I have that tool. You know, like my French cruisers, I build them for kiting, and they serve a function, and on a team that knows what they're doing, it serves it very well. On teams that don't know what they're doing, it leaves me in a bad way. Like when you expect me to go face spot in a cruiser that has just as bad concealment as a battleship, I'm gonna get dev struck every time, and people still expect it. They expect because, oh, I have a little cruiser icon on me, it doesn't matter that I have fucking 13 kilometers of detectability. Like, go out there and spot, and the moment a fucking DD, you know, gets me in range at 13k, I get fucking dev struck by a battleship I never saw. Like, it's so stupid to expect that out of just because I have a cruiser icon. So I do prefer ships like this that, they have the tools, they have the utility, they can do a lot of different things. So this poor Atlantico over there on the red team, he just got dumpstered right off the get-go. Sent a lot of torps down through that gap. And you can see just he's getting wailed on from Bravo, from Alpha, us, Torps everywhere. Like, Atlantico did not have a good game. Fun was had. That is confirmed. That was not a good game for Atlantico. He had a rough day. Another Shimanto out there. So one of the cool parts of this game, I end up getting into a brawl with a shill. Kind of interesting to go up against the shill. First time really going up against one and to be in a brawl with it, I kind of got to see what some of its capabilities were. So that was a nice little treat. There's the shill right there. So the mistake the red team makes in this, and we've talked about this before, is the black hole thing. Look at the mini map. Look where they all are. And what's going to happen is our team is going to push around through Charlie. And these guys are just going to be in some nasty crossfires. Like, I'm going to kind of hold them here at Alpha. And then the rest of our team's going to come through that Charlie, and the next thing you know, this whole team is just in crossfires, and it's a bad day. And that's why I say so many times, don't do the black hole thing. Like, I know I did a video, like, a while back about, you know, when the black hole strategy actually works, but that's so few and far between that actually works. And this is what happens 9 times out of 10. What happens to this red team is what happens when you do the whole black hole nonsense. Like, look at that mini-map. They're all in this one quadrant of the map. And you can see the GD already coming through Charlie. Battleships are going to come through Charlie, through Bravo, and I'm holding them down here at Alpha. And that's going to be a problem because they're going to have shells coming from every which way possible. So here we go, shill's about to come out. Let's get it on. Bang a gong, get it on. Let's go. See how this plays out. I know he's coming. I saw him leave the cap. There he is. So yeah, the fact that he left the cap was a little piece of information. So even though I couldn't see him, I knew he was on his way. Kind of telegraphed it, whether he knew it or not, that he was coming around that corner. So I put Torps down thinking he was going to turn a lot sooner or harder. I don't know if he's got sonar, if he's got it running. Whatever the case, those Torps missed pretty badly. We're going to be close range. I expect it to be, you know, the typical German cruiser move here, so I'm expecting the Torps. You can see waiting on the rudder. There we go. Bam. Nice dodge there. We're going to come around, see if we can't get our other racks and Torps on him. But before we do, he gets absolutely spanked up by one of the battleships. That is the end of the shill. So, fun little brawl there with him. Now we're going to turn our guns, spank out that Shimanto. And now it is just barbecue time over here. So I've taken out the 2 closest threats that were the cruisers. That leaves their 1DD, which is a Yudachi, who is going to meet his fate at the hands of my Torps. And meanwhile, we're just going to cook battleships. And again, if you look at that mini-map, you can kind of see that it's closing in on them. The team is starting to come up into position. We're about to have one guy pop out of that Bravo cop. And the other ships are just going to push down through here, and the entire time I'm just barbecuing them. I see the Yudachi smoke up over there. Gonna get a quick little spot on him. There it is. And I'm sending torps that way. And with 13.5 range, I know I got the range to him, so if he just sits there, it's going to be a bad day. But he doesn't really have any place else to go. Put some shots on the King George. Going for fires here. Again, look how hard that HE smacks. Like, it's so nasty. That's why it reminds me of the Zao, because the Zao hits really hard with HE like that. Like, when I hit a DD with just a full broadside, like, oh my god, like, it just looks like something a Nelson would do to him. Like, yeah, like, it's got a longer reload, but it just rips chunks off of things, and then it has that disgusting fire chance, so it's just... It's so good. There goes the Yudachi. Took a torp. Down goes the King George. That leaves us with the Z10 and the carrier. This match is about to be over. Like I said, that first match was a lot harder fought. This one, I just kind of stood my ground down here by the Alpha Cap. End up finishing top on the team, but in a much faster game. So, like, 2 games in a row, this ship finished top on the team, and one was an extended, you know, very well fought game, and then the other one was, you know, a black hole blowout. But each time the ship finished up top, and that's due to the fact that it can do so many different things. Like, that's part of how you get big XP scores, is it's, you know, not how much of one thing you do, but how much of each thing you do. So the more you do, the better your XP score is going to be. And so a ship like this that can do so many different things, like, if you saw the ribbon rack in that first game, like, it was 3 rows of ribbons. Like, it was doing so many different things. And even in this fast game, I'm already at 2 rows. Like, it's a very capable ship. That's all I have for you. I will catch you next time, captains. Good hunting, fair seas. Take care. Bye.
You have heard of